A wagon rolls from the shunting slope. A stone gets stuck between the points, causing a problem. The train is stopped in its tracks. A breakdown train is required.
Und wir benötigen den Gerätewagen dringlich.
The emergency manager alerts the emergency control center, which calls the locomotive management center. They mobilize a locomotive with driver, then the men belonging to the breakdown train on standby are called up. Everything they need is contained in the breakdown train. The large equipment is accommodated in the underfloor boxes. The 50-ton jack, the 25-ton jack, lifting console and short re-railing bridge, traversing equipment, and wire cables for pulling and securing the loads. The equipment room of the breakdown train wagon further contains a series of 50-ton jacks for low models, the axle pusher, various crowbars and flame cutter, equipment for illuminating the place of the accident, workbench and tool cabinet. It also holds a selection of stackable planks and a selection of hydraulic hoses for connecting the jacks and the traversing equipment to the hydraulic unit and control desk. The breakdown train is equipped with a diesel generator unit for supplying electricity. All the necessary preparations are made on the way to the scene of the accident. There is no time to lose. Overturned tank wagon. A tank wagon has overturned. Naturally, re-railing the tank wagon presents a major problem, especially if the tank wagon is loaded. Pumping out the contents increases the risk and should be avoided at all costs. We are lucky here. The tank wagon is empty. If the use of a crane is not possible or is impractical, the workers on the breakdown train need to use the Lukas re-railing equipment. The control desk, the main part of the equipment. This is set up at a suitable safe distance, which offers a good overview. Setting up the jack. Support blocks act as a solid foundation for the jack. To attach a lifting belt, the vehicle needs to be lifted up. To attach the jack, it is important that it is attached as close as possible to the middle, on a firm point of the vehicle. In this specific case, the jack is attached to the edge of the dome. Connecting hoses. When connecting hoses, the locking mechanism of the coupling elements must be observed. Jack, control desk and pump are connected to the hoses. Each hose is 10 meters long and is color-coded according to its use. The black hoses connect the pump unit and control desk, as well as the control desk and anchor cylinder of the traversing jack. The blue and red hoses connect the control desk and jack, as well as the traversing jack. The red hose and the red grip form make the connection for the extension movement. The blue hose or the blue grip form makes the connection for the retraction movement. When connecting hoses to the control desk or to jacks and traversing jack, ensure that the colored coupler matches the appropriately colored connection. Twisting the locking mechanism ensures a safe connection. Each and every movement demands carefulness and concentration. The Lukas re-railing equipment is prepared. The men that make up the small specialized team operate well together. This is essential amongst the members of a breakdown train. Speed and precision are the name of the game. Set the jack, keep a safe distance, supply power to the jack. Safety is the utmost priority. The sleepers, which are positioned in a wedge-shaped layer, also ensure safety. Should, during the critical upright phase, a lifter slip off or a rope break, this safety pile absorbs the weight. A lifting belt with a load-bearing capacity of 40 tons is used to upright the wagon. The lifting belt is positioned onto the tank wall so that the slings turn away from the tank wall. The bottom end of the belt is inserted underneath the sole bar facing the ground. The bottom end of the belt is fastened to the elevated sole bar. The top end of the belt is secured to the vehicle in order to prevent falling. Lifting can now commence. First of all, a 25-ton telescopic jack is positioned on the appropriate rope sling of the lifting belt. This lifts the wagon high enough for a 40-ton claw jack with a stroke of 800 millimeters to be inserted. The jack needs to be replaced once more until the tilting position has been reached. With this task, each and every movement demands strength and concentration. First of all, the wedge-shaped safety pile of sleepers is increased, so that the tank is resting on it, yet the jack is still used in its loaded condition. A second claw jack is positioned on a lower sling. First of all, position the tilting plate, align the jack, and extend the lifter such that the extended first jack becomes free. Remove jack number 1 in its extended condition, then take the lifter away and retract. The vehicle can now be lifted further. Bit by bit, the tank wagon gradually reaches the tilting position. Wooden blocks on the track prevent the wheels from sinking into ballast and the vehicle from falling over. We have now reached the tilting position. Fast, reliable and safe work. Now the wagon needs to be re-railed. The re-railing bridge, the area of operation for roller carriages and traversing jack, is pushed in underneath the headstock. Position the roller carriage. Mount the traversing jack. Attach the gliding plates. Connect the black hose to the locking jacks. Couple the red and blue pair of hoses to the traversing jack. Place the jack with base plate onto the roller carriage and align centrally underneath the headstock. Lifting, locking and traversing jack are connected to the control desk via the high-pressure hoses. A thin wood or rubber inset is positioned onto the piston head to prevent it from slipping. Start jack. A watchful eye from a safe distance. Shift precisely and carefully lower. Once the other side has been re-railed in the same way, the wagon is marked for the obligatory test in the workshop. Considering the enormous transport capacity of the German railway, the number of times a breakdown train has to come to the rescue is impressively low. However, the work isn't always completed quite so quickly. Sometimes greater problems arise. All the cases have one thing in common, however. They are under time pressure. The following re-railing cases offer a representative cross-section through the diverse field of activity covered by a breakdown train team. Case number 2. ICE derailed bogie. A bogie in the middle of a high-speed train has derailed. Before the re-railing process can be commenced, a series of preparations must be completed. Open the doors via the emergency release mechanisms. The battery of both cabs is switched off. As a further preventative measure, wooden wedges block the wheels of the non-derailed bogie. The brakes can then be released. The stop valves for the brakes are located behind the side flaps. The valves are closed and the spring brake emergency release device is activated. However, the preparations don't end there. The anti-rolling devices still have to be removed. Wooden blocks serve as a solid base for the jack, provided that they are correctly stacked. The mounting of the adapter onto the jacking control panel ensures a full and firm grip. When positioning the jack, it is important that it is positioned precisely underneath the jacking positions as described in the re-railing instructions. To prevent the wheel set suspension from increasing the lifting height, it is switched off. All the prerequisites for the safe, effective use of the jacks are now in place. The normal re-railing procedure is then carried out, however, with one special feature. Since it isn't possible to make a separation on this vehicle, the 4-point lifting method is used. Both ends of the vehicle are lifted on both sides using 4 lifters. It is obvious that the simultaneous jacking on all 4 points is difficult. Each and every operation demands instinct and concentration. Following lifting, re-railing bridges are positioned underneath both the derailed and the non-derailed bogie. In this case, one bridge doesn't offer enough length as a maneuvering area for the roller carriage. An extension is soon assembled. The re-railing bridges are inserted under the middle of both bogies, right and left, before the short coupling end. Carefully support the ends of the bridges. Adjust the roller carriage and build in the traversing jack. Once the roller carriages are positioned underneath the bogie sole bar, the bogie is based down onto the traversing device. The locking mechanism of the traversing jack has locked in the slot on the bridge. The traversing process commences. By applying this technique, the motor train unit is traversed simultaneously with both bogies. As soon as all wheels are back on the track, the train is briefly lifted once more in order to pull the re-railing bridges out from under the bogies. The wheels can then be lowered onto the track. This task requires utmost precision. However, it may occur with such a multi-wheeled vehicle that the wheel flange of a wheel gets stuck on the rail head. This problem can be fixed with the axle pusher. It comprises 2 slings connected by a crossbar. One single-stage 10-ton lifter is used between the wheel set and crossbar. This pushes the wheel set onto the track. Case number 3. Damaged wheel set. A wheel set of a 140 series goods train engine is damaged so badly that it is no longer in running order. A towing vehicle is required. It is set up quickly. Introduction of the axle into the bogie wheel. They are prevented from rolling away by using wooden wedges. Assembly of the second carrier axle. Mounting the longitudinal frame. Push the retaining rings over the ends of the axle and insert safety pins. Fitting the X-frame. Insert safety pins and lock. Done. The locomotive is now ready to be lifted. The rear bogie is wedged, the brakes are released. Steel bars are inserted into the guiding of the axle bearing housing in order to eliminate the deflection of the spring. Using the earthing cable, the upper casing of the locomotive is connected conductive with the track. The oil pans above the outer wheel set on the unlifted locomotive end are unscrewed. All necessary preparations have been made.